from what I've been told through my mom and my dad, uh, pretty pretty plain cut, simple. My birth mother, she was very young when she had me, and from what I know, my birth father, ditched out, didn't wasn't interested, wasn't ready for children. So my birth mother took me to an orphanage and didn't leave me on a step or anything. She was very professional about it for how young she was. Just went to an actual orphanage and said, "Please take care of my son and make sure that he finds a great home." And that's all I really remember up until the point of when I came here. I've had chances to, look up my birth records and things, but I just haven't gotten to it. And very curious about it. Very curious. When I was adopted, I was 9 months old, and I was adopted to uh, Joe and Pete Fowler from Lake Oswego, Oregon. It's a little suburb of Portland, and yeah, very fortunate. So they had been married for about 7 years, 10 years, I believe. Uh, they adopted when they were a little bit. They got married older, so um, that's don't know a lot about the whole adoption process up until I started getting old enough, and it was like little pieces, so it's kind of scattered. Pretty pretty normal family, two parent, two kid home, dog. Grew up in Lake Oswego, and I also had a sister. Um, just being a kid, it was pretty easy. I was very fortunate to. My mom was very involved with the adoption with Holt, and so I got to be around a lot of other adoptees. The area was very high in adoptee families. Um, schools were good. It was high Caucasian population, but their mindset on race and everything was really good. You wouldn't find a lot of I don't know, a lot of different areas where I've been where they don't look as kindly to other races. And um, feel fortunate, extremely fortunate to be able to grow up in an area where kids wouldn't look at me differently. I could just slide in as friends, and um, it was really nice. My mom was pretty good at keeping me level headed. She said she would tell me to you'll just fit in. If people don't like you for who you are, then people won't like you. But there'll be plenty of other people that are going to. And I found that that was a big help. I could just be myself in schools, and I'd be one of maybe two or three kids in my school or in my class that were either Asian, Black, Hispanic. So it was really, I feel like my mom was a big help in that aspect of just being able to grow up a normal kid without having the burden, I guess you could say a burden, but of being a Korean adoptee. And I, she had this comic up in the kitchen, and it has an adoptee and Caucasian mother, and the quote says, "Mom, how long, or why do the kids at school keep asking me how long I've been speaking English?" And if anything happened at school, the times that things would happen, I just go read that and just be like, it's gonna be okay. And the people that aren't gonna be nice aren't worth being your friend. I was pretty outgoing. I liked making friends. Um, I guess throughout elementary, middle school, and high school, I had the same friends. They would sprout out a little bit, further on with interests and things. But when I graduated next to my friends that I grew up with. Um, played sports. I was very active, and of course, got into trouble like any other normal kid. Was fortunate enough to be able to go to back when I was going, they were called the Holt Heritage Camps. They were for adoptees in the area, or actually from when I started going, it was here in Oregon, and you get kids from all across the country, and it was really cool. You get to they taught you a lot about your the processes and um, who you were, kind of to explore adoption. And it wasn't so much of being like, hey, there's all these kids that are adopted and we want you to go be with them because we feel that you need it or because you'll fit in better. I feel that it was more of a look there. You're not the only one that is out there that was adopted or is has Caucasian parents, and it was probably one of the best experiences in my life as an adoptee growing up. After graduation, oh man, I was all over the place. Um, After I graduated, actually had an opportunity to go on a motherland tour and with my family, and I passed it up. Worst decision of my life. Worst decision. I decided I wanted to stay in town and work, and at the time I thought money was, what a high school graduate needed to do: find a job, solid job, and make money. And so I did that. I moved out, got a job working as a car salesman at a dealership that's dealership area that everybody in the area knows. And I did that for a couple of years. Um, it was pretty strenuous. You'd work 17 hours, 16, 17 hours a day, 5, 6 days a week. And, I was kind of working like a zombie, in and out, doing the same thing over and over again. And I did that for about a year and a half, 2 years. And my mom got sick. She was diagnosed with terminal lung cancer. And so I moved back in and stayed around with her and my family until she passed away. And it was difficult because I just kind of tried to figure out what I was doing, and it all abruptly stopped, and I didn't know what I was gonna do. I just you know I kind of did the things my mom would tell me to do when she was sick. She'd be like, "Oh, go out and hang out with your friends," and she would kind of ignore the fact that she was getting sick. And so I would go out, party, stay out until, early morning till the sun comes up, and, go back. And then when she actually passed away, I just was lost. I didn't, had a lot of questions that I should have asked, when she was alive, about who I was and my origins and things like that. 29 years old, almost 30. It's pretty crazy to think that it's gone by so fast. Let's see, I was married 5 years ago, almost 5 years ago. So, and I had a kid. I had my first child 3.5 years ago. And so when I put the ages together, it kind of blows me away that time just kind of disappeared, because when I met my wife, I was 21. I was at that age of, kind of doing what I was doing, kind of doing whatever. And then all of a sudden, I can't even remember where my 20s went. It's just, it's pretty amazing. But I wouldn't give it up for the world. Being able to watch my kids grow up, and it's been a really good experience. When my son was born, the first thing I thought about was my mom dying, which is, I don't know why I did that. Maybe it's because I wish my mom could have been here or been able to watch him grow up, because I would think about things that she did for me, and my sister, and um, and it makes me want to be just as good of a parent as she was for me. But I know that I'll try my hardest, but I don't feel like I would ever be able to live up to my parents. Relationship with my dad and my sister are good, I guess you could say. My sister, who was also adopted, but she's not biological to me. Um, since my mom passed away, we kind of parted ways. Unfortunately, like, she's only seen my son twice, I believe, in the past 3.5 years, and she's kind of at that age where she's trying to find out what she wants to do, what she's doing with her life, and how she wants to continue, and things like that. But since everything happened, my relationship with my father has been very strong. It's in high school, he would always be working. I'd never see him. He'd work 16-hour days, and um, I we had a falling out um, after my mom passed away, and when I got married, everything started to come together. The relationship, I would ask my dad about things, marriage advice and life advice, because I kind of felt at the time, where's my life going? It's kind of gone by really fast, and I feel like that was a big part of our relationship coming back together. It was really nice, and then I had my son, and it just blossomed. He every time he sees him, it's a lot of comparing to, like, when I was his age. When you were your son's age, it was like this, and he talks to my son, and he's all like, you used to do the same things as your dad, and things like that. And I feel the relationship is just now again starting to be like it was when I was a kid. My wife is Caucasian, and she comes from a family where her father was adopted and her mother was not. And our marriage is good. It's like any normal marriage. You're going to have your arguments, and you're going to have your good times, and marriage isn't easy. It's a complicated thing. It's not just your life anymore, especially when you have kids. You still want to be able to have that connection with your spouse at the same time giving all your attention to your kids. It's hard. Most important thing to me in life is probably family. You can go through life having all your friends, and your friends will come, your friends will go. You can have them forever, but they're still just your friends. And if you don't have your family, even if it's for a long time or a short period of time, if you don't, you'll always end up going back to your family. You can be estranged for years and years, but you can, once you sit down or you see a relative, your family, you'll feel the same. I feel that, going back on with my sister, I feel, she's welcome in my life anytime she wants. And I feel that if I see her, and when it'll be like nothing changed. She'll always be my sister. Doesn't matter. My dad will always be my dad, and those are things in your life that never change.